I was lost it up there.
I know.
When they tell you Alaska is a whole nother world, whoever they are is right. The world is quickly remote and vertical and sharp and craggy. It's both awesome and intimidating. And I remember thinking to myself, this is when the anxiety started to kind of hit. I don't want to ski anything here. This looks like crazy. Like, you know, we're all going to die. What have I done? I got her. What's up, boys? Look at that. Those are, they make my sphincter get a little tight.
Look at that.
The mountains and the helicopter. I think it was really the first time that I understood, you know, Andy's wife, Annie, had taken me aside at a basketball game back in McCall earlier in the winter. And when she, you know, when we were getting close to this trip, and she was like, whatever you do, you need to bring him back alive. And I promised I would, thinking it was going to be an easy thing to do. But looking around, I was like, now I understand maybe why she was concerned. There's Andy. Hi, Andy. Welcome to the Orca Adventure Lodge.
Orca Adventure Lodge.
Robin, quit playing with your dinghy.
What's up?
I got the same talking to from my mom and dad about my brother Robin. Make sure you bring him back in one piece, you know, which I agreed to do. What do you think?
Absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. They didn't ask too much about bringing myself back in one piece, but, you know, maybe they just assumed either A, that I would be okay, or maybe I'm the black sheep and I'm just finding out now. I don't know.
Skiing's going to get a lot better when you go out to that next turn, so just buck right. Yeah, I just doing some snow movement. I just hit some sluff. I was watching.
The lodge itself was nice, was welcoming, but, you know, the first thing they have you do is sign a waiver, you know, where the terms are, if you die, it's your own damn fault and you can't sue us, basically. You know, so, you know, that was a little bit of an anxious moment again. You know, we'd already signed this 3 or 4 times, and now we were signing it for a 5th time. So, or, you know, it was probably really only the 2nd time, but it felt like we'd signed this a lot. The guy, the head honcho, Jay, came out, head guide, and told us, you know, at dinner that night that, hey, there's a small weather window tomorrow afternoon. We're going to get an early start. You know, stretch classes at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning is breakfast, 8:45. We'd like to be out and get our safety training and briefing done so that we can maybe be flying by, you know, 10:30 or 11. Because if there is a weather window, it looks like it could end, you know, maybe early in the afternoon. Like it might be a short window, but it'd be a good first day thing. So we all went to bed thinking, we're probably not really, you know, going to fly, even though that's what he said. Got a good night's sleep, got up the next morning, got our stretch class in, got our breakfast in, and then our guide, Steve, comes over, introduces himself for the week, and all of a sudden, you know, things become real. Like, you know, he's like, hey, instead of 8:45, let's do 8:30. Let's make this fast. We're the, you know, you guys are lucky. We're the first group up. There's 40 people there, and we're the first 4 people that are going to be dropped off somewhere to ski. I didn't feel so lucky about that. I would have been, you know, very happy being 36 through 40 and seeing how the operation went. But anyway, so we got there. We met him by at the ping pong table in the Neff, which is their little building where we have dinner and hang out. And, you know, put our harnesses on, learned how to correctly attach our carabiners, pulled out our triggers on our float backpacks, you know, put our beacons on correctly, you know, all the stuff that we kind of knew about, but it was a good refresher. Went outside, had the Avi class, you know, that was okay. You know, it wasn't a huge deal. Every time we've gone on a trip like this, obviously you go through some kind of an Avi training, get to, you know, refreshed on your beacon, probing, shoveling skills. But this was the first one where they were really adamant about learning how to use our beacons to mark multiple burials. So that was a little different and a little scary. And then at the end of that, you know, Steve took his ski pole and in the snow drew out a diagram and started to teach us about how to manage our slough. He's like, you know, we're going to ski vertical mountains. There's going to be slough. Some people freak out and pull their trigger when they don't have to. We want you to get in the habit of looking over your left shoulder, looking over your right shoulder, evaluating where your slough is, and skiing either left or right, you know, wherever it's logical to get out of that slough, and then continuing that trajectory across the hill if it's possible. I remember thinking, man, I didn't come here to kick off mini avalanches and, you know, manage my slough, but Okay.
If there's a dude that pulls their little avalanche thing early and just rides it down on a little slough, it's gonna be me.
Any questions? Boom, we're going, right?
What? Oh.
So a little more anxious, you know, every little thing we do is a little more anxious. Then we get to the helicopter and we're going through the heli training and things are starting to get real. Not so much about the heli training, but like, you know, after this training, we're just going to jump in this helicopter and we're gone and we're out of there. And at this point here, you know, my anxiety got a little better of me, and I turned to my brother and Tip and Andy, who are here in the back seat with me, and said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, man. I think this is the worst decision I've ever made." And here was their response.
Turning back now. Yeah. Let's go.
Checking off the bucket list, right?
And then, you know, the first helicopter ride, you know, taking off was a little nerve-wracking. You know, I'm not always good in the air. It was one of my issues, but the helicopter didn't bother me. It was a great ride out, beautiful, awe-inspiring. You know, we landed, we got the first landing out of the way, figured out how to get out without the spinning blades of death taking your head off. You know, put our gear on in the field for the first time of what would end up being 50 times. Like we skied 5 days out of 6, which is unheard of. And then they landed us on a mellow run, of course, to get us started. So we got to ski knee-deep hippie pile like I'd hoped to ski, hooting and hollering the whole way. And, you know, that anxiety that was, you know, maxed and redlined, as always, came back down. And the rest of the week was just an absolute joy. So.
Hey guys.
I saw your text on the inReach.
Oh, here he comes! Woo! Everybody's got to be a jackass. Looking good. Hello. You and your brother both ran over my skis. That's awesome.
They must be targeting.
Keep your toes.
What's up, boys? Pretty drive out. Just seemed like it's windy.
He opened his eyes.
Woo! It is. There you go. Yeah.
Wiggly Rodney.
That's as good as anything we had this week. Woo!
Then I'm going to go underneath what we're standing on and ski the left edge along kind of close to where it's sloughed out there. That should still be pretty soft. What I'm trying to get you not to do is just don't go rolling right. I mean, that's mega steep over there.
Yeah.
I'm all right. Lost a couple skis.
You good?
Yep, I'm good.
It looks like your ski. You got your ski up there? Just above you.
Yeah, it's up there, ways.
What do you have for gear? You missing one ski or one pole?
I have both poles, no skis, no pride.
If it gets to be too troublesome, let me know and I can just get a bump up there and I'll keep it down you. But it doesn't look that far. Andy, just hold tight. They're gonna bump up and come down to get the ski for you.
Sounds good, thank you.
We also caught your pride. We got it right down here. We'll go back here when you get down here.
Much appreciated. I know, it's like a poster. It's post hold.
Are you okay? Yeah, I'm great. Okay, I feel perfect. Yeah.
It was such soft snow. Oh shit.
Wait, we gotta take you gotta take a selfie. You should see your beard.
Oh, is it great?
It's awesome.
Nice.
It looks like you just were in the Jackson Hole storm.
That's awesome.
You okay?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm good.
Steve for the rescue. That was fun.
Thank you.
Okay, let's.
We had 3 days of skiing, bing, bing, boom. First day was blower pow. Second day was consolidated pow, still really good. Third day was a little bit more consolidated, but still really good, you know, mostly knee deep in spots. The fourth day, we had to take off. We had a wind event and bad visibility, so we got to go to the glacier, which was awesome. The fifth day of skiing, the fourth day of skiing, the fifth day of the trip, we went out and we tried for 4 or 5 runs to find some good snow, but it was all wind hammered and we didn't find it. Some other groups had found it, so we cut our losses, such a pain by the hour, and went back early. And early was still like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had the soup, you know, that there's there every day waiting for you. Had a couple beers, had dinner, and went to bed. And then our last day, our 6th day there, our 5th day of skiing, the guides had, talked to all the other guides. Everybody had figured out where the powder was still not wind affected, and we had our best day. They landed us in some crazy places. We skied 30 degrees plus pretty much all day. A lot of 38, 40 degree runs that were pretty nice. We had some whoopsies there. Andy took a fall. I took a fall at some point. It was a soft fall, but it was also a little scary because there was 3 or 4 times where the sluff management, we didn't do a good job of that, and it took us out and had us bury our tips and took us for a little bit of a ride, but it was safe. So overall, just an amazing trip. And at the end of it, I was able to drop Andy off at the Seattle airport. He was driving back home, and I was heading over to spring break with the rest of the family, catching up with them. and was able to report to his wife that when I dropped him off, he was still alive. And so was my brother. End of the week, brother.
Oh, we did it.
We did it.
We left some pride out. Most of our parts.
We got double eagles there. It's got to be a good sign, right?
What do you say? This whole town could be